Mia, a former Miss Universe, once said, "The crown is heavy and the sash is heavy, but even heavier is the responsibility to do something impactful." What impact do you think you could have in South Africa should you become Miss South Africa?
I can make a big impact by creating a space for people where everyone has a sense of belonging, because I know what it feels like. So I think when you believe and you know what it feels like, you really will go that extra mile.
Hello everyone, welcome to Traces of Power, where we talk about different forms of power. And beauty is extremely valuable. It is a valuable currency, you cannot deny it. And we're going to be talking about beauty queens in pageantry. So in this episode, we're going to be talking about the dark side of being in these beauty pageants, right? What does it do to a woman's confidence? Does it break it or does it build it? What are some of the challenges that some beauty queens have experienced before social media and even after social media? You know, these are the things that we don't really think about before going into a competition, or even after our favorite person has won the competition. We don't think about what happens beyond the crown. So let's get into today's episode.
To help the excluded, from financially excluded to being differently able to achieve their wildest dreams, just like I am tonight. Thank you. Mia!
Mia made history as the first hearing impaired Miss South Africa winner, and she stuck to her advocacy and was very clear about how she was going to make an impact in people's lives. Now, due to the controversy that a former contestant had experienced, she too was met with online bullying, but it showed the world just how differently abled people experience bullying or exclusion every day in many settings. That could easily affect anyone, but we are glad that it has made her stronger and that, you know, she was fit for the role. And it goes to show that the woman who wins should have a good support system.
Are you guys? Good tears. I've always been super transparent with doing therapy and just staying on top of my emotions and thoughts and feelings. And so I was just at my psychologist, and I have 3 weeks left of being Miss SA. And I am so hard sore. Like, why don't we talk about how hard it is? I just always want to be transparent, and I think that's why I haven't been so active this past year with Heart to Hearts. It's because I just go through waves of being tired and then being joyful and excited and adrenaline and traveling and fatigue, and then filming and busy, and where I kind of forgot how good this is for me as well, to just make sure that the people watching know exactly how I'm feeling and who Natasha really is.
Miss World 2014 is South Africa.
Another amazing Miss South Africa. This one is the Miss World 2014 title holder, Rolene Strauss. Oh wait, she's actually a doctor now. What I actually like about her is that she was very honest on her personal YouTube channel about things she was not confident about. Because I'm telling you, looking from the outside in, this woman is near perfect if she is not perfect. And here we are seeing once again how a beautiful woman, you know, can be given the crown and then she will be torn apart afterwards. And they were using newspapers back then. It's not like social media, which is instant and everybody has got an opinion, like how it is today. So now it's even worse. But you truly do belong to the rest of the world as soon as you do become a public figure, and that's just something that should be expected. So if you are entering, that's something you really should bear in mind.
Here when you win, and you are pushed to the brim, you are pushed, and my thought is this platform and the difficulty of that year of being in South Africa going to hurt this lady? Is she ready for it? Because so often you find that we never really know what to expect, even though people tell you what to expect. But being in Miss South Africa is like building a parachute while you're already jumped out of the airplane. So, unfortunately, when you enter Miss South Africa, you are kind of in the forming years of your life still. You're still finding your identity, you're still trying to figure out who you are, and that is fine, but the danger is that you very often attach your identity to the role that you are playing. And you go through various stages of your life very quickly during those years. I'm looking for someone who knows who they are, and I know it sounds so cliche, but that doesn't attach their identity to the Miss South Africa title. Someone who is strong enough mentally to be able to wear the crown. And I try to protect that lady before I crown her, if that makes sense.
This was the first question I gave people. They're like, you know, because I don't think anyone tells other people to put on a weave, so why should I? You know, at first people are like, was this a strategy? I'm like, to what? To wake up and be myself? You know? And I was like, no, it's not a strategy. I've had, short hair for 3 years. And I wasn't going to change because I was now stepping into a beauty platform. Right. Because then that means I don't think my hair is beautiful if I'm going to change it. And so I decided to keep it.
You had incredible support from South Africans, and you also had incredible support from the world over. Mm-hmm. And, leading up to that crowning, there were so many people who were really, behind you, and having you pinned as the favorite because of how you conducted yourself and how incredibly intelligent that you showed yourself to be, purposeful and also incredibly beautiful too. Mm-hmm. Did you feel that you were destined for this moment?
That's actually a very interesting one because of how much support I got and still get today. People, I think, kind of forget how hard it was in the beginning because it wasn't always that for me. My first month as Miss South Africa was a little tough because when I won, there was a lot of questions about, whether or not I deserve to be a Miss South Africa. I mean, that's where you're supposed to feel your most beautiful, right? You're Miss South Africa.
Yeah.
I mean, you're supposed to feel your most incredible. And for me, that was one of the first times in my life where I felt like questioning, what I look like and my beauty. And I'd never really had to face that, head on in my life before. And so it was tough because if you're in the pageant space, you'll know that there's your regular people who support you because they love Zosie. She's, this South African who's doing something that I can relate to and I love her so much. Yeah. And then you have pageant fans who follow the pageant. I don't know if I'm making sense.
Religiously, absolutely.
Religiously,
you see
right?
That all over.
And so for those people, I was a headache because I was just kind of destroying everything that they've come to learn and know and love, about pageantry, because now they were looking at this girl who did not fit into their idea, essentially, because pageants for them is some kind of escapism of perfection, right? And so here you are now having this black South African girl coming into the space, looking real, like an actual person, ruining, that fantasy of what they think it is. And so with that first of having to constantly prove that, I deserve to be in that space, I have to be there. Things that people think are a compliment that would sometimes really just piss me off when people say, Miss South Africa and Miss Universe are no longer just about beauty. Yeah. Wait a minute. I am actually beautiful as well. They'd say it's not just about beauty now, it's about intelligence. She's so smart, she's so well-spoken. Yes, 100% I am those things, but I also am beautiful. Do not take that away. As a black woman, they do that in that space. How did she win? Maybe she's incredibly smart, maybe she's incredibly talented, but should someone else win? Nobody really questions why. It's she won. Yeah. And that's it. And so it was tough for me in the beginning there. So then my thing that I would tell myself when all of those things was happening was, it's actually okay. I'm going to let it happen. What it means is now you know that we exist, you know that we belong in the space, and so it's going to become easier for so many women who are going to come after me now to exist in this space. It's actually a good thing that you're having these conversations and saying these things about me, because something is going to come out of it and it's going to be something incredibly beautiful. And it did, because guess what? The following year, when you look at the pageant space, the amounts of entrants that came in that were black, short-haired women, natural-haired women came in and started entering these pageants, right? And I was like, this is just the most beautiful thing. And this is exactly why, you know, this was happening. I just recently actually had a conversation with one of the women who work at Miss Universe who I was very close with. And I was telling her that, you know, after I stepped away from Miss Universe, I stepped away from like the pageant space for a while, just trying to kind of mute and block some things because it was a very, very long reign of some of those negative things. And then she says to me, yeah, and I understand because they were not very nice to you. Because sometimes you think like you're imagining. And so for her to kind of validate that moment and say, they didn't really treat you nice, was just, yeah, sorry. Yeah, so I've had incredible support from South Africans and incredible support from, I'll say, regular people who follow my journey and my story. But in the pageant space, it was kind of tough, you know, to exist there. But yeah.
Well, you were incredibly deserving. You are incredibly deserving.
Thank you.
Absolutely nothing to prove to anyone.
I think this video of Chidima being ignored and all the other 4 contestants getting touch-ups and like proper stuff, like getting their hair sorted and they have someone assigned to them, and Chidima is just given lip gloss or something, like that's it. Like that in itself is just showing the toxicity in this kind of business. This is essentially a business. Any young girl watching from home, really rooting for her, is probably thinking to themselves like, why is it that she's treated differently? Why are the other ladies getting special treatment and she is not? Is she not of value? So it's like you've got a title, but you're not valued enough. You're not seen the same as the other girls. And that is really unfair. That is really not okay. That is absolutely demeaning and heartbreaking. And so it just goes to show that there'll always be some controversy. There'll always be some toxicity. There'll always be something negative, but you really have to push through and get through it. But hey, everyone got to see that and everyone got to get to their conclusions about that.
I think it's very important that collectively all of us girls come together and speak out on our experiences and how not so empowering it was for us. And yeah, this organization is not it. I wouldn't even let my own daughter do Miss Universe.
Are your strategic steps for the evolution of beauty pageant?
Evolution. We have blonde and blue eyes, so we come to the ultimate evolution already.
That's a big step, I know.
We don't need any more revolution here. We get the best here.
I can't mention every beauty queen, but from people like Rolene, finding her beauty in her body no matter the size, not attaching your identity to just how you look, to Mia, you know, standing up for the hearing impaired and showing the abled people how we can include the excluded in this world. And thank you for educating us, even at Miss Universe, on some of the challenges that we need to be mindful of. To Natasha, finding your purpose and giving others a chance at education. You know, you showed that you really care about your people. So we really appreciate that. To the Zozis of this world, we are so grateful for Zozi, because as hard as it was for you, we now look at other Miss South Africa contestants and winners too that are black and with their natural hair, who feel confident enough being in these competitions. And you did that, girl. That is your legacy. That's the leadership that the world needed to experience about an African woman. To many more queens that have won, those who have not won, and those who are yet to win, your challenge is your strength, and take care of your emotional and mental health. There is always light at the end of the tunnel, because you are doing it for so many women who look up to you, and you are important. Alright guys, thanks for watching today's video. Don't forget to like, to share, and to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.